Well, hi there friends, it's Julie here, and I'm here to teach you guys a really easy, simple recipe that is called Death by Oreo Cupcakes. For those of you that are not familiar with the recipe, it is part box mix, but you know what? People are never going to be able to tell because it's so freaking delicious. And if they can tell that it's box cakes mix, they're not going to be able to say anything anyways because they'll be too busy stuffing their face with this amazing cupcake. What are we waiting for? Let's get baking. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do is get all of your ingredients together, and for this recipe basically you have to have 1 box of your favorite Devil's Food Cake box mix and anything else that the box tells you to have. In this case it's 3 eggs, a cup of water, and a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. The other thing that you need to have is an entire pack of Oreos. I like to go with double stuff. It doesn't really matter what kind that you use. And then for the frosting you need a whole stick of butter, that's 4 ounces. You need 8 ounces of cream cheese, it's a whole package, and you need 2 to 3 cups of powdered sugar. And yes, I do realize that this recipe is probably very high in calories, so if you have friends that are on a diet that you're making this for, this is really not for them, sorry. So basically for this part of the recipe, all you have to do is follow the box mix instructions. So here, the first thing you have to do that I always forget to do, don't forget to do this, is preheat the oven. Says preheat to 350, let's do that. Alright, first thing you want to do is line your cupcakes, like so. Not that hard, you guys can do this yourself. I don't have to teach you how to line cupcake tins, I hope. These are really thick cupcake liners. No wonder I paid $2 for a pack. I can never tell if there are 2 in here or just 1. It's so freaking thick. So line 24, set it off to the side. Let's get our cake mix together. Should be pretty easy. Usually with cake mix, all you do is you throw everything into the bowl and you go. So for this recipe, like I said, 3 eggs. 3 eggs in you go. Oh. And then get the salmonella off your hands. I'm really neurotic, I'm sorry. So 3 eggs in. Also ask for 1 cup of water and a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. And the cake mix. Mother! We have tools for these things, right? That's what people do, we use tools. And everything's in. Oh my gosh, before I forget, these are called Death by Oreo cookies. So the first level of crazy Oreo-ness is that you want to throw 1 Oreo on the bottom of each of these tins. There's going to be 1 whole Oreo in each of these cupcakes. It's crazy, I know. 1 for you, 1 for you. If you think that this is too much Oreo going on, you need to go home. This place is not for you. And we can't be friends. And you're going to be using the rest of these Oreos for your frosting, so just put them on the side. Resist the urge to eat them because we need those. Okay, so back to the cake mix. All you have to do with cake mix is, like I said, everything's in the bowl already. You mix it all up, make sure it's very well incorporated. You can do this with an electric mixer too, but I don't want to go get it. I'm really lazy. Baking is super glamorous, I promise. Yay, so make sure you get it nice and smooth. Don't overbeat it though, because when you overbeat cake batter, it gets really airy and you just get a lot of air bubbles in your cake and it gets all crumbly and gross. So yeah, just until it's nice and smooth, got all the big lumps out. Shh. Next step, easy peasy, fill your cupcake tins. Now it's really important to remember not to fill up the cupcake tins all the way 100% to the top, because that's going to make really messy muffin tops. If you like the muffin tops on cupcakes, yeah, like go for it, put it just about 3/4 way up, but I usually like to put it about half. Like I said, little bit of muffin top is okay, but these cupcakes are like your babies. These days childhood obesity is a very big problem. So it's cute to have a little bit of muffin top, it's delightful, but once it spills over the top, it's messy and it's gross and it's not what you want. How I like to fill my cupcake tins, I have this tiny little measuring cup, it's about a 1/3 cup, but if you have a large cookie scoop, use that. It makes everything a lot easier, but this is all I have, so this is what I'm going to use, and y'all can judge me for it. but I think you're terrible people if you do. I'm just kidding, you're not terrible people. Everyone judges. Alright, so once you fill the tin, what you do is give it a little tap. And that helps get some of the air bubbles out of the batter before you throw it in the oven, and also gets the batter surrounding the cookie a little bit better as well. And basically that's the cake part. Next thing you do is put it in the oven. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop our cupcake babies into the oven. We'll set the timer for 20 minutes as per the box instructions and wait for these to be done. Alright, and how you always check to see if your cupcakes are done is to do the toothpick test. Pretty easy, take a toothpick, hello, stick it in, make sure it comes out dry. So just let them sit in the tin for just a little bit, and after they're cool enough to handle, move them onto the racks and let them cool. Alright, so while we're waiting for our cupcakes to cool off, we're going to work on our frosting. So take the remaining of your Oreos and you are basically going to pulverize them into tiny little pieces. If you want, you can use a food processor. My weapon of choice would be rage. This is a responsible rage. I don't want to damage my countertop. So your method might be, you know, thinking of an ex-lover who may have left you and broken your heart into a million pieces. Or maybe that person who drives at 60 miles per hour in the fast lane. Whatever you choose, whatever your motivation is, go for it. I'm sure it'll help. You know, I always tell people that baking is very therapeutic for me, and I think I found out why. Perfect. Now that you have your cookie crumbs ready, we can move on to making some delicious Oreo cream cheese frosting. So just make sure you had left your butter out the entire time so that it can get a little bit soft. And how you know your butter is soft enough for frosting, take your finger, push it into the side. If it makes a nice little indent of your finger without completely smushing and melting everywhere, that means it's good for frosting. So throw that in there. Same thing with your cream cheese. Make sure it's nice and softened. It's at room temperature, not cold. Bloop. Alright, next up you're going to take your electric mixer and just whip it up nice and good so it's really smooth. Alright, so go ahead and make sure you scrape down the sides of the bowls. Get everything in one place. Okay, and what I have ready is 2 cups of powdered sugar. So the recipe calls for 2 cups, but sometimes I'll go up to 3 because it depends on how stiff you want your frosting to be. All right, mix it up real good. Side note, if anyone wants to dish out about $250 and get me a KitchenAid so this goes much faster, I really appreciate it. Just saying. Alright, so I've added all 2 cups of sugar, but it's not quite stiff enough for my taste, so I'm going to add another cup, see where it is. Alright, in goes another cup. Alright, so take the Oreo crumbs that you crushed earlier, either using a food processor or just pure anger and disappointment at the world, and open the Ziploc bag and add it to your frosting. Give it a good mix. Frosting is ready to go. This is a little look at the frosting. It looks all Oreo-y and delicious. Now, what you do with the frosting on the cupcakes is up to you. You can spread it with an offset spatula, or you can pipe it on with a piping bag and a tip. All up to you. Creative license. By all means, it's free country. America. This cupcake is nice and cool. They can hang out with the cool crowd because it's cool. So how I like to do it if I'm spreading it, making sure everything's equal, is a tiny little cookie scooper, perfect for frosting. Just scoop like this, plop it on top, take your offset spatula and just spread it nice and smooth. There you go, nice and smooth. And if you do just do it spread like that, you can decorate it with a little mini Oreo, or in this case for me, tiny little chocolate sprinkles. Adorable! Alright, now piping frosting onto cupcakes, some people are not quite as familiar with. I love doing it, so I'm going to give that a try with this one. For this, I'm using a very large star tip for it, and I'll show you just how I do it. So you fold down your piping bag, just like this. Fill your piping bag with frosting. Close up your piping bag just like this. Take your cupcake, one hand up here squeezing, the other one guiding. Just boom! Now what I forgot to say is that if one element of decoration that makes it even more Oreo-y is if you get mini Oreos and plop them on top of the icing. They're called Death by Oreo. Much Oreos you want to put in it, that's up to you. If you want to crush up some extra Oreos that you have lying around and put it into the batter, I do that sometimes too, and it's delicious. They're so cute. All done. Well, now we're all done. Right, so that is Death by Oreos. If you guys want to do anything different with the presentation, like I said, with maybe some extra Oreo crumbs on top, or the mini Oreos, or colorful sprinkles, whatever you want, the world is your oyster when it comes to this. And if you need the recipe written down so you can follow along with it or print it out, I have it posted down below in my blog if you want to click on that down there. I also have additional pictures and, you know, some extra comments about why I picked the recipe in the first place. Thank you guys for watching. If you stick around for next week, I'm probably going to do something a little bit on the nerdy side. Might involve a certain tribute from District 12. How am I going to explain it to people that don't know what Hunger Games is? I spoiled it. Spoiler alert. I'm making cheese buns! And it's going to be on the easy side as well. It's going to be just like this, really easy, really snappy. If you're a beginner baker, it'll be no problem for you. Alright, so now it's time for the best part of any baking adventure, is enjoying your product. There's a whole Oreo on the bottom. How can you not like this? Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god.